Hi everyone and welcome back. This is Mindy Eggen for Honeybee Stamps, and in today's video we are going to be doing some rainbow ink blending to create this thank you card for the teacher. I'm really in need of some cards for teachers this year, so I dug out the Brilliant Day stamp set, and I am also going to use the Special Teacher stamp set and the Honey Cuts. For ink colors, I'm going to be using Distress Oxides, and I have Shaded Lilac, Mermaid Lagoon, Squeezed Lemonade, and Candied Apple. So this isn't a complete rainbow, but we are going to be able to create an entire rainbow with these four colors. I'll also be using the precision glue and some purple tape. I also have a dot runner here for my adhesive, and I have embossing ink and then the amalgam obsidian ink. To help me with my stamping, I'm going to be using the MISTI corners that helps align my sentiments straight. And then I also have my blending brushes from Honeybee Stamps that I store nicely in this container from Make It by Marco. Now to get started on my card, I have a piece of Neenah Solar White cardstock that's 80 pound, measured at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm using my MISTI to stamp this image. This is the image of the crayons. There is one for pencils, but I really liked the crayon image, so I lined that up on my cardstock. I'm prepping this with an anti-static powder tool to help make sure my embossing powder only sticks to the ink. Then I can ink that up with the embossing ink and stamp that down onto my cardstock. And I do stamp this twice just to make sure I'm getting a really good impression. Then I'll sprinkle on some white embossing powder and tap off that excess back into my container. And once my heat gun is really nice and hot, I'm going to bring that to my paper and melt that embossing powder. To start the ink blending, I'm going to bring in the candied apple. And I'm going to just pick some of that ink up with my brush, and then in a circular motion, I'm going to bring that onto my paper. I'm starting off the paper, working my way on. I want to make sure I'm getting some really nice deep red color there, and then as I move, I'm going to kind of fade off. And then I will bring in the squeezed lemonade. Now the reason I kind of had faded off a little bit with the red is we are going to blend these two colors together, and that's what's going to help us make our rainbow. So starting with that squeezed lemonade kind of in the center, and then moving it over towards the red, you can see how we get that really nice bright orange. Now the same thing with the yellow, I'm going to fade off a little bit to the side, and then I will bring in the Mermaid Lagoon. And that little bit of fade that I had with the yellow is where these two colors are going to meet, and it's going to bring me that green, and then I can finish off by adding in that purple at the very end. Since our embossed image resisted this ink, I'm going to bring in a rag and just buff off any of that excess ink, and that'll really make the white stand out against our rainbow colors. Now these also have a coordinating die with them, so I'm going to use that and die cut out these, so I'll hold that in place with my purple tape. Next I have a piece of Buttercup cardstock measuring 5 1/2 by 8 1/2. And I'm using my scoreboard to score that at 4 1/4. So I'm going to have a top folding card base. And this yellow kind of reminded me of like the box of crayons, and it was just the absolutely perfect color yellow for this card. And I'm adding a piece of white cardstock that's going to measure 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And I did go ahead and trim my crayons down so it fits there. So it's going to be 5 inches long. So off screen, I die cut the word teacher 3 times from white cardstock and once from a glitter cardstock, and I'm using the precision glue to layer those together. This is going to just give my teacher word some nice dimension, and then after I added that glitter layer to the top, I'm adding this to a shadow layer I die cut from black cardstock, which is really going to stand out nicely. Then I can just hold that down for a couple seconds, make sure that's really adhered together nicely. So here is a closer look at the glitter on the top and the dimension that this gives us by layering this together. To add my smaller sentiment, I lined everything up on the card front the way I want it to be, and then I'm tucking in this smaller sentiment, pushing down with my MISTI corner. That's just going to make sure it's lined up really straight. Once I pick that sentiment up with the door of the MISTI, I can go ahead and remove all of those pieces. That way I'm not risking getting any ink on that. So I'll ink that up with the Obsidian ink, a really nice black ink, making sure that's a crisp image that I'm stamping down. So I'll stamp that twice. And then I'm going to attach this white front white panel with that dot runner. Now my crayons, I did decide to add some foam tape behind that. So once I remove the backing on all of that foam tape, I can line that up on the bottom of my white panel that I have on my card front. I just love all of these colors. It reminds me of a box of crayons. So I'm so happy with how this is turning out. Then once again, using the liquid glue, I'm going to attach my teacher word to the front of the card, just making sure that's tucked right under that smaller sentiment. I'm really excited with how all of this came together, and it was actually really quick to do, so we could do multiples of them to hand out to teachers. And then the inside will open up and you can write your special message. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed today's card, and I'll see you next time. All of the supplies used in today's video will be listed down below in the video description.